What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
What's up?
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
What's happening?
So we are in like a new setup. So actually, it's like Zach's more sitting straight across from me than directly to my left, and Mogan's still on my right.
It's bad and it's
Something's
wrong.
different.
I'm setting up a new office in my house, like a new setup in my house and all that stuff, and I haven't completely got everything all turned around yet, and so it's a little wonky, but hopefully next time. But like,
I'm not used to looking at Jerrett.
I know.
I'm not used to looking into space, just empty space. It's like, this is great. That's fine.
I was nervous. I got nervous. I was like, man, I'm going to screw up this intro. So I'm going to say like, and straight across is Mogan, Zach. No.
What's happening? We just merge.
Nah, we're good. We're good. We made it through. But this is Team Chat Podcast, the video game podcast where we talk about the games that we love and why we love them. We'll hit you up with some reviews, our top 3 lists on certain topics, or just random discussion. And today is one of those days of random discussion, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, we also, if you have any questions or comments or any feedback about the show, anything like that at all, you can send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, or follow us on Twitter. Send us a tweet there at teamchatpodcast, or brand new, you can go to our new shiny Facebook page.
Hey.
It's awesome.
And like us on Facebook.
Beautiful.
Which
is
facebook.com/teamchatpodcast. And we're there. Give us a like. Got a couple episodes up there.
That is a totally new thing, embracing all aspects of social media.
I know. That's what we got to be.
It's what you have to do
You
nowadays.
have to do it. You have to get out there on the World Wide Webs.
We're not on Snapchat quite yet.
Oh, that's the future.
That's right.
We'll get there.
I'll get us there. I'll get us some Snapchat.
Lead the way, Jerrett.
In fact, let's all take a little pic right now, and
this will be cool.
we'll tweet this out.
Yeah. I like
whenever if you follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook, you'll see this picture that I'm about to take.
Trippy, man.
Well, I know. It's like we're gonna post it, but then they're gonna hear us talking about it in the future.
Right.
So,
Where's your selfie stick?
Yeah, you do need a
look at
selfie.
my
You
arm.
gotta have it.
Look at my arm. I don't need no damn selfie stick.
Yeah, but Zach's head is like barely in it.
Boom. We're gonna tweet this son of a bitch. All right.
So don't get married to this setup.
No, it's gonna look different.
Because this is
different.
not how it normally is.
We are in a transition phase right now. Got my Darth Vader back there though, so that's cool.
Oh, you got that in there? That's important.
Yeah,
we should set him up.
He's kind of back there.
Yeah, didn't get Fender in it though.
I really like the idea of having a fourth co-host that doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? I think that'd be fascinating.
I mean, we have.
Well, I know
all this time.
Yeah, Steve, but it's fine. Maybe someone else.
Yeah. So anyway, where was I? Social media, all that jazz.
Facebook
iTunes.
page.
That's right.
We're on iTunes as well.
We are on iTunes, SoundCloud, all that stuff. But so speaking of emails and other ways of corresponding, we have an email today.
Yes.
From our good friend Dylan.
Yes. We love Dylan.
We do. Dylan's our friend. And Dylan says, "Hey gang, I have a quick discussion question for you. What are some games where you had a surprising emotional response? I remember Red Dead Redemption and one of the Witcher 3 endings packed a wallop for me."
A surprising
emotional response.
Well, I'm going to take out the word surprising.
Okay.
I'll just say
just an emotional response. Okay.
Yes, because...
Is that because emotions are always surprising to you?
Yes, I think emotions are always surprising. And some of I'm also expecting an emotional response if it's going to happen, actually. I don't know. It's a little of both, you know? If I'm playing a game that I know is going to be emotional, by the time I get to the end, it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
But in recent memory, I had a pretty emotional response to a cutscene in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Naturally.
When you first saw Quiet?
It's a different kind of emotion, Jerrett. It's very different. But I don't want to... It's like spoiler territory totally, but it was towards later in the game, but it does involve Quiet in Big Boss. And I definitely... In that, it was surprising. I was very surprised that...
Why am I crying?
I didn't like tear up or anything, but I was like, this could be in a movie. This is such a great action of sacrifice. And that's the stuff that always gets me. When someone like rises to an occasion, I really like that stuff. But
what always gets me is like happy, just anything that's too happy. Like when there's a happy ending, I'm in immediate tears. Like I don't really cry at most movies that are like just romantic or just sad because I'm like, well, you're prepared for it. But like if something really, really awesome happens in a movie and like everybody's super happy and everybody's crying, I'm also crying. Right off the bat.
You're with them.
Now, one of the games that we've probably never talked about, have either of you even heard of Professor Layton?
Yes, I've heard of it.
There's quite a few. It's the Professor Layton series, and they're a series. I hate How do you do this all the time, Jerrett? Looking back and forth all the time.
I know,
This
Mogan's
is awful.
in between.
This is awful.
Now.
You just gotta rotate the neck, but then still keep the mouth in front of the microphone.
That's right. Your chair
it's this move
because that just provides uniform sound quality all the way.
All right, I'll try to keep with uniform sound quality. So the Professor Layton games are really fun and challenging because they're puzzlers. So Jerrett, you would probably not like them too very much. But Zach might. Maybe.
I do like some puzzle games.
From a puzzle game, I wasn't really expecting when I first bought them for them to be very heavy on story, but holy crap, they really are. Like, the puzzles almost take a back seat to the actual story of the game and the mystery of the game, because they're always like detective type investigation kinds of things.
Right.
And puzzles are just this medium that you use to progress through the game.
Right.
And a lot of them, for being marketed primarily towards children, because, they're little animated, adorable games, they are really sad. Like, a lot of the actual endings to the games they're not really, they're not unanimously good. They're often bittersweet, and a lot of really sad stuff happens. And for Professor Layton, as his name might imply, he's a British gentleman. He's very upper class, and he's very polite all the time. And it's just like, God, Professor Layton, your life kind of sucks a lot of the time. Like, just terrible things happen in his life, and you're like, this is the worst. Why? And just like even some of the enemies that you actually are, I use the term enemy very lightly because you don't fight anybody in a puzzle game. You do like puzzle battle them kind of. You're fighting. It's the mental challenge. It's an intellectual challenge.
Yes.
So I've definitely found myself towards the end mostly the ends of the games where it's winding down, everything's coming to a close, and you're like, gosh, this kind of turned out really bittersweet. And so I've definitely cried a number of times.
I feel like from conversations we've had, you get emotional revisiting games.
Very fast.
And that's something,
very
and
emotional.
I don't know if I give credit to the game, but it's not the exact same emotional response to an ending of a game or something that the game did. It's more of a response to something that I did in my childhood or something that I did in the past. I recently played Mario Party with my sister. And
Did Mario Party make you cry?
It didn't make me cry, but when the opening cinematics, if I can even call them that, began, and all the characters meet in this little field, and they all walk up, and the sound effects and the music. It's really the music that really comes and can really hit me. That stuff.
I agree. The music is where it will hit me.
Is really powerful, and one day we will have a huge. We've been talking about it for a while.
We're planning it out how that's going to go
because
the soundtrack episode.
That is one thing that we have all really bonded on since day one is video game soundtracks and just video game music in general. And it's super powerful. Like when you went back and played Twilight Princess HD, I bet you got somewhat emotional.
I was not crying, only a little bit. No, only sort of crying. Just endless tears for all of the games that I love so much.
Nice. So I think for me, the one that I semi-expected it, but I didn't know how much it emotionally affected me, and I've talked about it before, but The Last of Us. By far. Mm-hmm. But what's another one?
It's tough for me to actually think of a game that I played that I really did have a big emotional response to. And there's no ones out there that I think I would have that are more story-driven, like almost, I don't know what you would call them, but one recently came out for PlayStation where you make decisions, like it's a book, and you can either hit A or B to
one
go
of those
one
like
path
pick your own adventure kind of things?
But there's a really good one that recently came out.
Life is Strange?
Maybe Life is Strange. Yeah, maybe that's it.
Like an episodic?
Yeah, like an episodic. And
I knew a lot of people were like, oh my God.
Yeah, people had really big emotional responses to that. Yeah. So I really want to get into a game like that and come back to this.
I do too. I want to try a more episodic thing because I know that they have, since they're like that, they have a little bit more time to develop story. And I always hear like the Telltale.
Yeah.
Is that who it is? Telltale Games? Yeah.
So.
They always have, their games always seem to pack a big emotional punch with people, but they're episodic. I haven't gotten into too many episodic ones.
I know, and I think that's where you're going to find some of the more emotional games.
I think so.
I mean, I have emotional response to Halo, but that's not surprising.
Right.
When Master Chief finds
you're
Cortana
invested,
and saves her, that's
you're invested in the story, and that one's paid off since you played it for so long.
I know, it's a great question.
Yeah, it is a great question. I'm blanking on anything else other than Last of Us right now.
Mm-hmm.
I do actually have one that's kind of surprising, but
Okay.
it's also kind of lame that I just thought of.
What is it?
So remember how we talked about how the game Splatoon technically has like a story mode?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like really negligible. Like it's super not the point of the game. So I had barely played it, and it's really, I mean, it's just levels, you shoot stuff, things explode, it's awesome.
Right.
But I finally got to like the actual final boss, and I'm fighting the final boss, and then it gets to like halfway through the battle, and the tides turn, and like the super awesome music from the game comes on, and it's like everybody rallies around you, and then you keep battling the boss, and eventually you beat him. And when the tides did turn, and it was like, no, you got him on the ropes, I may have cried.
That may or may
I
not
was
have
like,
happened.
at Splatoon, I thought I was better than this. And
That's
I'm
a
not.
surprising
it
emotional
totally
response.
surprised me because it was nothing. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
All that happened was there was just a change in music, and like your little companions come on over your radio comlink and whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, you got this." And I was like, "I do got this," and it totally got me just out of nowhere.
I will say overall, video games for me pack much less of a wallop emotionally compared to books or movies, and that's a
Agreed.
good topic. Maybe we can talk about someday, because I think that is something they can improve upon, though. And if these games like Life is Strange or these more episodic video games are coming out and trying to do that, I think they can catch up. But I will say, as of right now, my emotional investment is far more high in films and books.
Yeah, mine too.
Video games, which I love, it's a very different reason that I love them.
Yeah.
Emotion isn't usually one of the key factors.
Oh wait, I just thought of one.
Okay.
This is
counter.
Is it also Splatoon?
no, it's not
Ah,
Splatoon,
dang it.
but it's one that I was very surprised, more because of the platform I was playing it on. It was I played it on an iOS mobile game, and I know that's not its only platform. You can play it on like a PS Vita, Xbox 360, stuff like that. Valiant Hearts: The Great War,
Okay.
and it's a very much. It's set in like World War One. It's the art style is very cartoonish. You know, it's about like war, but it's not like depressing and dark necessarily, especially when it begins. But you're this farmer, Emile, and he lives on his farm in France with his daughter and her husband. I want to say Kurt is his name, and he is German. But then, so when World War One starts, he gets somehow like pulled into service for the German army and all that stuff, and Emile gets pulled into service for the French army. And so it's this whole thing of and then they find out later that Kurt has been injured and like he's somewhere, and so like Emile's trying to find him, and you interact with this American soldier who came over to help, and so it just goes on. And the more into it, I mean, it's more of a puzzle based game. Like you're not like fighting things. You're going through and like solving a quick, like, oh, going to this part to find this piece that plugs into this thing that does this. You know, kind of a game, but still like the ending, totally unexpected on how it was gonna go, and especially because like the tone was more of like a serious but light. But then the ending just totally, it just went full on, and I was just like, I was just playing, and I was like, holy,
Like really serious, really
like
sad?
sad.
Oh,
It got super
okay.
sad.
That's out of nowhere. Very unexpected.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God.
Were you in
Like,
public when this happened?
No, I was at home. I was just playing it at home.
Oh, but this
And
At the
they have just received an
DMV
awful
sobbing.
text.
yeah,
Oh,
that's what it looked like. I'm like on my phone. I'm just like, oh God, no.
Well, now, how did you find out about this game?
I had heard
I feel
about
like
it.
I've heard of that
I'd
title.
heard about it. I
haven't
want to
at
say
all.
it was a. I'd seen it coming up on like PlayStation News and stuff like that when it first came out, and then I want to say it went on sale or something like that on the iOS store, the App Store, and I was
okay.
just like, sure, why not?
yeah.
not?
Just try it out.
And yeah, I'll try it out and fell in love with it. And it was even one that I had to purchase. It was episodic,
There you go.
and I had to purchase. It had like expansions, like later levels and stuff. You had to buy and unlock and all that stuff. And,
nice segue.
and I still
I was
did
about
it.
to say,
I
that's
know.
a nice...
So that kind of brings us to the topic of today.
Yes.
Which is DLC, expansion packs, microtransactions, and season passes.
All that stuff.
All that stuff that basically add-ons to games. And so the reason for the impetus of this topic, at least for me, was so April 5th, next Tuesday, the day this airs, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
Star Wars is releasing... Star Wars Battlefront
Star
is
Wars
releasing
Battlefront.
its first set of DLC, Outer Rim.
This is the first.
Yeah, the first set. It's had some patches and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
but this is the real first.
And this is the first like real paid expansion for
Okay.
it. And I got concerned when they were talking about it because it seemed like they were locking it behind you could only get it if you had bought the season pass. They were not very clear about no, you can still buy this even if you didn't get the season pass. Because everywhere you talked about, they put anything about it, it was like available in the season pass, and you're just like,
Yeah, well, that's
well,
just
I
they're
don't wanna-
trying to give you incentive to get the season
exactly.
pass.
But I was kind of like, that's kind of, I mean, and then eventually I found someone like Small Type or something just like, okay, we're releasing it for season pass holders on March 22nd. Everybody else can get it April 5th.
Right.
Now,
So,
did they not do...
for people who bought the season pass, they're already playing it right now.
Oh,
okay.
interesting.
But
Did they do
I'm waiting.
pre-sales for the season pass?
You can pre-order the season pass when you pre-order the game itself.
That's what I thought. So
Which
that
is,
would have
like,
been
people-
a long time before, like, anybody... Was there any information about what would be included in the season pass?
They gave you some ideas about what it was going to be. It was going to be like, you'll get new maps. There will be new mode types. You'll get new heroes to play as and all that stuff. But no
And no, like, concrete
and extra
numbers.
weapons and stuff like that. But like no strong details as to what it was going to be actually include. Which is why I never buy the season
I was about to say, that
passes.
would make me very suspicious. If I don't know in advance a pretty good picture, like, I understand that they might not want to give away potential spoilers, but if I don't know pretty well in advance what's going to be included in something like a season pass or additional content, I'm probably not going to buy it.
Well, because I know a lot of time it's kind of like one game that sticks out. Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight, which is the most recent one. Yeah. Alongside all of its plethora of other issues that it had, one of the things is that people were like, the season pass came out and we're just getting skins for the Batmobile and my character. Like,
That's all they offered.
the DLC to that game apparently was not very good.
Now, didn't they actually... So they did pre-sales for the season pass for that one, but then they didn't actually announce what was going to be in it. Wasn't it something ridiculous like months after the game had actually launched?
It was like and that's kind of the thing. The details for this first pack of DLC for Battlefront was really only nailed down like a month and a half ago.
Ugh.
And even then, like I was kind of like, I mean, I'm gonna buy it, but
Interesting. I think that's interesting. Right
Withhold
Well,
your
again-
dollars, Jerrett.
there. Yeah, fight the power.
no, again, it's because it's Star Wars.
Right.
If it was probably anything else, I'd be like, nah, don't. I'm
But
okay.
there's still something more to it. I have the similar reaction that you have. The
Ugh.
kind of sound comes
Like,
from my mouth whenever I hear about DLC. I bet you. I don't want to make an assumption, but at this table, I think I could be the most against it.
Really?
I don't know.
That's
Maybe.
actually kind of surprising.
Yeah, why?
Because I would say I'm opposed to the idea of DLC or season pass if you don't have all the information. I'm not opposed to it as an industry practice. If you announced it way in advance and were like, here's what you'll be able to get, and you were very upfront and transparent about it, I would probably be on board.
What is what is wonderful about it, and what I do like, what is the silver lining for me is games today, and games were not able to do this, I don't think, 10 years ago or 15 years ago. They're able to come out and they're able to be expanded upon. They're able to be built upon the foundation that developers set.
Right.
That is really enticing. That means a game can grow. That means worlds can be developed. That means maps can come out. So many really interesting things you could do with that. I think that also, conversely, sort of makes the initial game a lot less of what it could be. And I'm used to coming from I'm just used to coming from games that were really a full package when you get them. Now this is a trial to trial thing. This is a case by case thing.
Right.
This is not every game does this. Every
Because a
game's
lot of
different.
games do them better than others do.
Some games come out and they're super fleshed out, and there's a big package. They're like, and I know we'll talk about The Witcher at some point during this day, because I think Witcher is someone that did, or that community that game developed. Who made The
CD
Witcher?
Projekt Red.
They did, I think, a really correct way of doing it.
Oh,
They released a massive game, and then they promised even more advancement in it.
And several. The nice thing, not to detract from what you were saying, but the nice thing that I've noticed a lot of developers have started doing, and even like Ubisoft's been doing it now, Far Cry Primal, and they just announced some free some free DLC for The Division that's coming out.
The Division actually,
which is it's just like a patch where it's like, we're giving you some small free stuff, and they've done that with Battlefront. Like they've unlocked some different map modes and stuff like that. The the community completed challenges, so they gave different skins for the heroes that you could wear. Like if you're on Hoth, Luke and Han will be in Hoth gear instead of just their normal outfit. So that's nice too. But no, I get what you're saying.
Well, it's like
before, like in the days of the N64, you got your game, and they made that game, and
it's true.
you got
So
your
we're going
cartridge,
way
and
back.
well,
there's more recent
that's
examples.
Yes, that's
but
valid.
but still, it's just like you got your cartridge, you plugged that cartridge in, and
That's the
everything
game.
was there. Was the game
Right.
Now? Granted, it's just like that was older technologies, and they didn't have the ability to do that. Would they have done it if they had the ability? Who knows? Because it's kind of the toss up of. Back then, gaming, I feel like, was a somewhat of a fledgling industry. So people were trying to get their foothold. So they wanted to like present this package of like, ooh, look what all you get.
Right, exactly. It's very. It's almost reversed itself. It's because they have this predetermined knowledge that content can be created after the development of the game, or it's even already created, and they can just leave it out and give it to you later.
Yeah,
you can almost And this is the thing that worries me. You can take a game that's really great and well developed, and you can almost slice it in half. And
right.
You say, we'll release this half. We'll give them this half. I don't know if this is accurate. I don't think this is how. I don't think game developers are evil. I don't think they are.
No, I think they're just trying to make money.
I think they're just
evil.
trying to make money, and that's fine. Like I get that, and this is a way to do it. And,
right.
And you talk about even being against it, and I do it too. I'll buy some DLC every now and then.
Yep.
I will, but I don't like feeling strung along, and I don't like feeling like the game is supposed to be for me. You
right.
know, it's not supposed to be something they lord over me in a way. Like, for example, when Halo 2 and Halo 3 came out, that was still in a time where it was in between. They were releasing maps, I think,
right.
like multiplayer maps, and that was great. And they always released them for free, at least except maybe Halo 3 that you actually might have. No, actually, I don't know. Halo 3, I think they were still releasing for free.
4, I know you did.
Yeah, 4 you might have to buy.
But then 5, they started releasing stuff for free.
Yeah, 5, they're okay. So 5's are, and I want to kind of compare that. It's a mix, but in Halo 3, for example, the matchmaking playlist was really long. You had Big Team Battle, you had Social Slayer, you had Squad Battle, you had pretty much everything covered. They didn't leave everything out. Nowadays, and this isn't so much has to do with DLC or expansion packs, but every weekend they'll come out with, hey, we're gonna do Social Slayer this weekend, and then we're gonna take it away for a week. And I'm just like, why can't I just have the full intended game?
Right.
That's weird.
Why is Oddball not in it anymore?
But see,
why is this something? Why is Griffball coming?
I can kind of understand that because they're trying to keep people engaged.
They are.
They don't want, it's like
playing with a cat.
Because it's like there are so many different things, like, because now Halo used to be, it was Halo and maybe Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like competing against each other. Now you've got Halo, Call of Duty, The Division, Destiny.
And if
MOBAs, MMOs, it's like,
and if another game does it, you have to do it too. That's
exactly.
the other
That's
thing.
true.
You have to really join the party, and it's no one maybe even wants to do it, but you have to do it at this point.
Yeah, and it's just,
I don't know. It just there's a feeling that I get that upsets me when I feel like a game is trying to manipulate me, rather than trying to win me over with a good game.
Right, which is why it was such a breath of fresh air when CD Projekt Red released Witcher 3. And they're just like, hey, guess what? Yeah, they're just like, hey, here's the Witcher 3. And they included the little note. Yeah, which is a huge, expansive game.
Right.
I'm still waiting to get into it, but Dylan, please don't be mad. It's I'm going to get there. But from even what I've played of the first Witcher game, and all that stuff, and just from what I've read, seen gameplay and all this stuff, it's huge. And then they include this little note in your game when you buy it, and they're just like, hey, just so you know, DLC is gonna be free. We're gonna give patches will release more content out throughout the next few weeks, and you'll get all this cool stuff for free. Granted, they did eventually release a expansion pack. Or an expansion that was paid for. You did have to pay for it. But still, I saw plenty of places online, people being like, hey, this first huge bit of DLC that The Witcher just gave us, it's like just as big as The Witcher 2. So it's the amount of content that they gave out for free was impressive, and they earned a ton of good karma from the gaming community, just because of how much everybody was like, what?
Yeah, I know.
What? Because they just couldn't believe it.
And the gaming community are sensitive people.
They are.
Seriously.
You have to be careful around the gaming community.
Yeah, and they even gave you a copy of the soundtrack with the game too, and it's just like, what?
And granted,
which that will get my love if you give me the music.
When the game does come out with DLC that is worth it, and it is worth a certain amount of money, and it actually does deliver, I can't fault a game for that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to fault anybody for asking me to spend $20 for a real expansion.
Right.
It's just whether or not it's just something that I usually don't shell out for, though.
Yes, I had to teach myself or tell myself not to buy the DLC anymore for Call of Duty games.
Oh.
Even though I love Call of Duty and stuff like that, and it is really hard. Like right now, the first DLC pack for Black Ops 3 is out right now. They just announced the next one coming out today. Not coming out today, but they announced it today. And
I can't even keep up with all that.
They release 4 packs a year, but by the time they release the 4th one, the new game is only like a month away.
Right.
And so then I'm like, okay, and it's $15 per thing.
What do you get?
You get 4 new maps, a new level or entry into the zombies mode or whatever the extra mode that they have in Call of Duty. Granted, the Call of Duty DLC is very much worth it. You get a lot of stuff for the price. And because I know the zombies mode, I'm not big into the zombies mode, but it's very for the people who are into it. It's very episodic. It's a very good story. It's a whole nother great gaming experience. But for me, it's just like you're looking at it. Okay, $60 for the game when it comes out, $15 for 4 DLC packs. So somebody who's better at math than me each. $15 each. Yeah, for the 4 packs throughout the year. And so there you're looking at another $60. So $120 for the game. Granted, if you were super into Call of Duty, you could buy the season pass, and it's only $50 for all the extra DLC.
You get a break.
You get a little bit of a break, but still. But then they know, and that's the thing. They know that the dedicated Call of Duty fans are going to do that every year.
You're going to get it.
So I mean, it makes sense.
Why would they stop doing it?
Right, exactly. But I had to tell myself just because. For budgetary reasons, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that every year. And so, like, Advanced Warfare, I only started doing that with the last one, Advanced Warfare, that came out. And I was like, no, I can't, in good conscience, keep buying all the DLC.
Well, that brings up a couple different things. But I know you mentioned something when we were texting about Super Smash Bros.
What did I mention?
I don't know, about a expansion where you could get a new character.
Oh, yeah, just DLC characters and levels and stuff.
And how much is that?
Well, that depends. So most of the time when they release new characters, you can buy them all together, I believe, or you can buy just the ones that you want. So they've released... God, I don't even know how many extra characters. The roster is so gigantic now, I'm not sure I can even keep up. But the more recent ones would have been Bayonetta, Corrin, and...
Wow, Bayonetta?
Cloud?
Yeah, Bayonetta. She looks
Badass.
awesome. Oh, yeah, it was Cloud, wasn't it? So there was Corrin, Bayonetta, and Cloud. And those were as recent as February. So this is a game that's been out for over a year now. Almost 2 years now.
Yeah, getting close to that.
And so I appreciate that they are still trying to keep... Because with Smash, it's not like Call of Duty. You don't get a new one every year.
Right.
Super Smash Brothers, the games they're much more spread out. So it's like by releasing these new DLC characters that you can pick and choose from. I think Bayonetta's set. So her outfits and her level were $5.99. So $6. So if you wanted all 3 of the newest characters, you would have been shelling out about $20, but most of them came with additional stuff like stages and the characters themselves.
And if it's for $5 or $6, that seems worth it to me. And again, to your point, it's going to be such a long time since there's going to be until there's a new Smash Brothers. Then why wouldn't I?
Now with games like Call of Duty, where there is a new one literally every year, me as a consumer, I would be significantly less likely to buy the DLC because in my mindset, I'm going, I'll just wait for the new one. I'll just wait for the new game.
True,
why would I shell out all this money for a game that's about to get eclipsed by its sequel?
Exactly. And so I still have all of the old Call of Duty games and stuff like that. And every once in a while, I'll fire up like Modern Warfare 2 or the first Black Ops and be like, I like some of those maps on there. I'll see if anybody's playing. There are still people playing them. But at the same time, it's just like, Like, why would I stay on the old one when there's the new one?
Is there any play to or pay to win incentive in any of these games? Like,
Fortunately, not.
because that's something that I don't know if I've played a game where that necessarily exists. But just hypothetically, for example, if the Division said, "Hey, $10, you can have three legendary or superior weapons that no one else will have access to," that's going to really turn me off.
Yeah,
I do not
I don't
like that idea at
no.
all.
No, and I think that would turn off the majority of people.
Yeah.
But
because
I feel like games do have play to win or pay to win.
it depends
aspects.
if it's. They do. Some of them do. Like, I feel like a lot of. Well, especially if you want to look, like, say, okay, perfect example, because I'm still, or not perfect example, but Clash of Clans on the mobile phone and stuff like that. I play that, but I don't spend any money on it.
Does that hinder the experience?
In the sense that it takes forever to like upgrade things and to move on to the next level and stuff like that. Like, I just started a troop upgrade and it's going to take 10 days.
Oh.
And I could buy gems to just do it immediately.
Right, and
but
that's
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to buy that on that
games.
game. I've talked to a guy who told me, like, he was showing me his clan and all that stuff, and he told me he spent over $700 on this game.
It's wild.
Where are you kidding me?
I know, it's wild.
And I'm like, no, thank you.
No, it makes it
Because
your stomach.
Yes, I'm a gamer. I'll pay. I know I've spent way more than $700 in my time of gaming on games, but for one game that has really no other benefit than it just being continuous money hole.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, it makes you a little bit sick. And Halo, not that it's a little different, but it also has that aspect for gold packs, silver packs. They have a thing
for the rec packs.
for the
and all
rec
that
packs.
stuff.
Yeah. So in Halo, you can buy. It's almost like getting baseball cards. I mean, you open up a pack and you get 10 things, like a weapon and like a weapon skin, some new armor, all aesthetic things. Nothing that's really going to pertain to, unless you're talking about Warzone. That's kind of another story. But anyways, you can get one of these packs, and the only way to get them, there's a few ways to get them, but the main way is by playing the game, you build up rec points. Every time you win, you get like 1,000 points, and a gold pack is 10,000 points. Or, if you so choose, you can spend X amount of dollars and get a bundle of 10 gold packs. And there's even, I think the biggest one on there, you spend like $60 or $99.
But you can actually earn those same points in game without paying
Right.
real money.
You can.
Which-
so I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that,
I'm
too.
fine with that, but I still...
I mean, you can do that in Clash of Clans. Like,
Right.
it just takes.
And,
It's just how much time
almost
do you want to
every-
spend time or money?
Almost every game that I play on my phone, that aspect exists.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can play it like this, but they're always kind of nudging you. And I just don't like that nudge. I
know.
do not
When
like
it's-
I don't
their
either. I
elbow
don't-
in my
When it's
side
over the
saying,
top.
"Hey, yeah, you
Yeah.
can spend a little money and we'll give you something
I
else."
would
It's like
definitely
I am
say
not a
that
whore.
I am much more...
That is not who I am.
I would definitely say that I'm much more amenable to DLC as opposed to in-game purchases. In-game purchases, I have that exact same reaction. If that prompt comes up, if they actually interrupt the game, or if it comes up when you boot up the game or go to quit the game, those little, hey, you should do this.
Right.
My reaction is, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Out of spite now. Out of spite, I'm not going to do it.
So, like, I loved the Angry Birds games and stuff like
Yes,
that.
ooh, you and everyone else.
And they came, I know, right?
There's a movie coming
That's
about.
a revolutionary thing.
They released Angry Birds 2 not too long ago, and I was like, oh, cool. Downloaded it. I deleted it very quickly.
Really?
You couldn't do anything without them prompting you to be like, hey, buy more hearts, buy more lives. It was such a complete different experience from the first Angry Birds, which was just like Angry Birds, And now that it's like they put on so many other things to it, I'm just like, this isn't fun. And, I took it off completely. Now, to your, I do know, so a thing about pay to win, Last of Us multiplayer came out with expansion packs where you could buy new skills, like DLC. Not expansion pack, DLC for their multiplayer, where you could buy new skills and like weapon packs, but then they also had like customization items. You could buy like a hat pack, or which I never buy anything that's like a suit or a skin,
like
kind
an
of stuff.
aesthetic.
That's an aesthetic, yes.
Yeah.
I'm all
Like,
about aesthetics.
You are.
I would definitely
which
do
I want
that.
to touch
would
on
do
in a
that.
second. But so like I'm not about that. I'm not going to spend $5 on 100 different hats.
Oh my god, I
don't
would
care.
love that.
But one of the things that, and I saw it in a couple forums, is that people were like, so one of the weapon packs that they released, you got a crossbow, which when you shoot somebody with it, it causes the initial damage, but then also causes a bleed damage, a residual damage for a little bit until you can heal. And people were like, okay, that's pay to win. and some people were like really mad, like that's pay to win, Naughty Dog.
What game is this? Last
Last of Us.
Okay.
And they're like, that's pay to win. You if you don't spend money, you can't. There's no way you can get this crossbow, which they're true. But also at the same time, it was $3 for a pack of 3 weapons.
It's the principle.
It is the
It's
principle.
the principle of the idea.
And I agree. I was like, yeah, that's kind of shitty, but here's my $3. Not
You son of a...
You're a sellout.
But
Say it ain't so.
again, it's Last of Us, which we all know my love for that game. So yeah, I'm gonna spend the money on it. And
That's valid.
Still,
You're a fan.
I drew
You're
the
a
line
fan.
though. I did not buy the hat pack.
Every time, did you kill people with the crossbow, and were you just like... Did you feel sick?
I mean, no, it felt
Did
awesome.
you feel ashamed?
Yes.
It felt
Might as
awesome.
well
I killed somebody with the
throw
crossbow,
it.
and I was like, oh, that was satisfying.
You might as well throw like a $quarter at them.
Yeah, it's like here's some in-game money. Go buy that. So yeah,
pennies.
I agree. As long as there's the option to be able to either earn it through just time spent playing or pay the money, it's fine. I'm never going to spend the money if there's the option to do it through time. I'm just not going. That's just me. I'll be like, I'd rather do this and save my money for buying another game that comes out or something like that, and as opposed to just sinking all of it into all of my gaming budget into this one game.
Well, here's the big emotional response that I have to this. When I was younger and when I first got into gaming, and this is a bigger, broader subject now, but when I was playing games on N64 and the original Xbox and PlayStation, yes, I was young and naive, and I never saw it as a business.
Yeah.
Obviously it was. It's always, I don't want to say it's always, but it certainly became a business very quickly. However, it was almost like this secret relationship I had with video games and with certain types of games. And I never felt as though that was a relationship where they were manipulative or above me. I felt like we were sharing something. They made something they wanted to share with me. That is something that I only feel every now and then with games.
And that is a very valid response. Because, I mean, with newer games, and especially with DLC, you can absolutely easily get the feeling, I'm just the consumer to them.
You feel
and I
like
do
a
see what you're
consumer
saying. With
instead of a
older
participant.
games, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of,
something-
this is something between us.
Exactly.
And now it's like, they just want my money. Right. So, I mean, so it's true. They have always just wanted our money, but it didn't used to feel that
they
way.
just make it less
like I
obvious.
see it now. It's like if you just make it more subtle.
Yeah, just be
make
more
it more
subtle about it, but they really-
I'll just slide you the dollars across
Right,
the counter,
we won't
and
talk
you give
about
me
it.
the game,
Right,
and that's the end of the
We'll
story.
be friends still.
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it's just the evolution of business. Because
is.
back then it was like we said, it was Sega, Nintendo, and then later PlayStation competing against each other, or then basically,
Microsoft.
and then Microsoft didn't really come into it until
Right, a little bit later.
until the Xbox, which was 2001.
I believe so.
Yeah, and then something like that. But yeah, so for a while it was pretty much just Sega, Nintendo. Then Sega
and it was
died
a
out, and then they
community,
were
too.
exactly.
Video games, and this is I don't want to derail us too much, but video games have obviously expanded. It's up there with films and
Right.
books, and that's why
It's something now that anybody can make.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we want to start about the podcast, because we wanted to kind of discuss things like this. But we do when you get that big, and this is just I think a fact of life. There are little, not evil, but little kind of.
I mean, you could kind of call it necessary evils.
Necessary evils arise. It's
You
a
have to
business, and it
have
gets
to make
big.
money to stay in business,
Right, you have to
when
do it.
when there is the huge video game market that there is, everyone's looking for that next way to make money and stay ahead of the competition.
Right.
And we're gonna as the gaming community, there are some of those things we're gonna like, and there's some of those things we're gonna not like. Overall, I like DLC. I think it's cool. I like as
It
long as
has
it's presented
potential,
in the
it's used potential. Certain developers have used it correctly. I
right.
think.
And granted, yes, I'm gonna like it if the developer just gives it to me. I'm like, cool, man, good on you. But then also at the same time, if it's a game I really like, if it's a developer that I'm really behind, yeah, I'll shell out the money like I did for Last of Us, and I've done for Call of Duty in the past. I'll do it for The Division. I've done it for Destiny. And
See, I never did it for Destiny, and Bungie. I never did it. I did it. Did I ever buy? I don't know if I maybe once bought a map pack, and I have huge loyalty.
I think I did. I think I bought a map pack once for one of the older Halo games too. But it all depends on my relationship with the developer and relationship with the game for me.
Well, another question that came up to my head talking about this, and this is something that I think needs to maybe perhaps be reevaluated, is how much is a game worth?
Yeah.
That's a really hard question.
It is.
Why would you even ask that? We don't have that kind of time.
Well, I know. I don't want to go into this whole discussion about what a game is.
Well, no, but
and how
it brings up a good point.
But it used
I know
to be, what, $50 for a game? I think it went up $10 in the last 5 years or so.
Yeah,
yeah,
something like
most
that.
games are around 60
60 now.
nowadays.
And there was the discussion of when the Xbox One and the PS4 came out is should they be more now because of the higher graphics and things like that. The systems could handle more, so therefore bigger games could be made. So does that mean that the price should go up? No, so yeah. But back to what you're saying.
Well, it's just, I mean, I don't know the answer. I remember when it went up from 50 to 60. I remember when it started doing that because it used to be 50.
I mean, even still, like sometimes if I'm looking at the price of a game, I'm like $60.
Yeah, I know. It's
back
a little
in my day,
Right,
back
yes,
in the
when I
old
was
days. So
20.
I still have that reaction where it's like, man, that's still kind of a lot of money.
Again, it comes down to what the game is. So like a lot of people, especially now that some games have started being only like multiplayer only and not having a story mode, or something like that. People are more like, should that game be $60? Like, and that came up again, bringing up Battlefront. People were like, this is
Battlefront,
multiplayer
it's
only.
a good example.
Should this be $60? And then it also came up Black Ops 3 for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It's crap. I can't remember now if it's multiplayer only or campaign only. I think it's multiplayer. Yes, it's multiplayer only. You don't get the campaign for PS3 and Xbox 360, but it's the same price. Could be wrong on that, but it's very close to it. I'm going to double check it. But and so a lot of people have just been like, what does this?
What's the value of this?
What's the value? Why is
numerical...
this game that's only giving me this? Because you can definitely look at it and say, Star Wars Battlefront is not giving me as much gameplay and options as The Witcher 3. Or Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh boy.
Kind of thing. It's not providing on the same level.
There,
I'm just saying
No,
on the same level, they're not providing the same amount of things.
So why
like that.
on earth would you pay as much money?
Exactly.
I definitely
Because
agree.
the standard.
Because it is the standard. So then it's like, okay, do you lower the price of a game like Battlefront, but then they're just going to find a way in the background with DLC and other things like that to make it up? I mean, they have to do it. They have to make their money. And so I agree. Overall, having the standard is fine. Because if you look at it too, investing the $60 in a video game and then the $15 or whatever dollars that you're going to invest on the DLC over a period of time, the amount of return on investment for that is very good.
Sure. From a business standpoint, it's wise.
Case in point, like Shadow of Mordor. I played that game and I beat it completely, platinumed out. It took me like 54, 57 hours to do. I spent a little over $1 an hour. If you look at it that way.
Wow.
That's cheap entertainment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you look at it from that way.
And for games like Pokemon, where I've literally logged hundreds of hours,
Civilization,
it's like,
same thing. Like games that you play and like maintain for years, the return on investment for that is pretty good. So in the end, it's like, do I want to split again? I'm not going to buy all the DLC, but for Battlefront, same point with like the Super Smash Brothers. They're not going to come out with Battlefront 2 anytime soon. They haven't talked about it. I might be surprised at E3. They're like, guess what? Battlefront 2 next year.
Ooh, and you're going to be with your Starstreaker mask on.
Exactly. But, I'll be like, oh, well, all right, going to buy that now.
Yeah.
And for games like that, for Smash and games like Battlefront, when there's no real next in sight, but there's still a very active community around those games, you could really view the DLC as part of keeping that game at the forefront of gamers' minds, keeping the community active.
Exactly.
Because why would you play an online game? Not only is there not a second one, but just if nobody else is playing it anymore.
So a good example of that is this game, Mag. It came out a few years ago, PS3, Xbox 360. And its big thing is it was multiplayer only. It was like one of the first games I'd heard of that was multiplayer only, aside from, the World of Warcrafts and all that, all those other like MOBAs and stuff like that. But the thing is it touted like 256 player multiplayer battle kind of thing, like huge teams.
Yeah.
But have you guys ever heard of Mag?
No.
Exactly.
What happened?
It came and went. Like I remember hearing about it and I was just like, oh sweet. But then when I actually thought about buying it, it was a couple years after it was done. It had come out. Nobody plays it anymore.
Right.
And see, to that exact regard, if you're like me and you frequently don't buy a game when it's released, DLC is actually a really good way for me to go a year from now, look at a game and go, oh, but they just released all that new stuff. I can still buy this and still have all of that support from the online community and be assured that other people are still going to be playing. So especially if you just aren't going to buy it immediately, you look at DLC and go, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I don't buy it immediately because I can buy it 6 months from now and there will be all this new stuff already available, especially if it's free.
And the base game might be cheaper at that point.
Exactly.
It's true, and you might get some sort of bundle package.
Yeah.
I think Grand Theft Auto did that when they had like the Ballad of Gay Tony and some other thing they had for Grand Theft Auto 4. I think eventually you could just buy it as a bundle pack and you get all the DLC.
They'll normally do like
with
Game of the Year editions or something like that. Shadow of Mordor did that. Dragon Age Inquisition did that. You can just buy it. You can buy it and get it both. That's how I got the first Dragon Age. It had come out long enough ago, so I got the Ultimate pack and it came with the Awakening expansion and all that stuff, and it was even cheap then. So yes, there are ways to get around it. Again,
it's just though, and I come back to the idea, and this also goes with another aspect that games do now is, I know the Master Chief Collection suffered from this. I know there was another game recently I think it suffered that came out broken. It came out and it didn't work.
Right.
yeah,
And it's the same idea that you could not get away with that 10 years ago. If you released Halo 2 and it didn't work, you
Right,
couldn't
like,
you're not going to be able to come back and like recall it and fix everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
seriously.
like what the game I think there's something pure about that. And that's maybe something that I miss a little bit is what they make is what you get.
Yeah.
And as much as I do think DLC can be used really well, it goes along with the same idea that if a game is broken, we'll fix it in a patch down next week.
day one patch.
Yeah,
we'll send it out day of.
Right, and that's fine. Like I pop in my game and it's like a 2 gig download to patch it already. I'm like, well, that's weird. You need to like already have something. So I hope it doesn't make the developers lazy.
Yeah, like you
I
don't
get
want
that.
there to be encouragement of cutting corners because, oh, we can fix it
We
later.
can fix it later. We'll give them that later. Again, like the idea of slicing the game in two. You know, this part really isn't finished. Like, who knows? Like, maybe, I know this sounds cynical, but maybe all that stuff the Division's about to offer, they already like could have put in the game. They could have easily just had it in the game.
I definitely think that's
Possible. It's
in
probably
the most
true.
cases, it's planned for.
Yeah,
they didn't
it's
release
planned
the,
for,
they didn't
right.
release
It wasn't
the
like
game,
a surprise.
and they're just like,
Right.
hey,
They're not like, hey, we've been hard working
you know
here.
what would be
You know,
cool?
we love you guys so
We've
much.
got
We had
all
these
this
great
excess
ideas.
content. We don't know what to do with it.
It's like they definitely know it's been in
Be
development.
honest about it. I'll do it. I'll be on board.
Yeah, it's like it's been in development. They didn't release the game, and be like, so what's next?
Right. Well,
you know,
the Division looks
they
good.
know that.
The trailer that came out, it looks like, you know, they're using DLC and like, yeah, we're going to actually totally expand this world for you.
Right.
And we're going to kind of release it like this. But I don't like the idea that withholding parts of the game
Right.
for money just makes me a little sick.
And there are definitely things about it, and so that's where. So bringing it back to something we talked about a little bit earlier with episodic games. Mm-hmm. That's where I kind of like get a like, you know, like a little like about episodic games.
Yeah.
So again, I haven't played that many. I played episode 1 or season 1 of the Walking Dead
Yeah, I played
Telltale
like
game.
the demo.
And
So I'm an
I
expert.
played it, and I was like getting into it and stuff like that, and then it ended. It's just like get season 2. I'm like, no, I want season
Right.
2 now. You know,
I
it's
know.
it's kind of the same thing, which you know that is also coming from.
It's fine, you know, but that's again coming back to what the game is worth. Maybe it's worth that. Maybe you need, you know,
Yeah.
maybe it's worth
But also at the same time, I didn't go back and buy the rest of it.
right.
Now, see, that's another good example of if I knew it were going to be an episodic game, I would just wait. I would
Me
just
too.
wait
Yeah,
until
get
they
some
were
sort of
all
the new-
released, and then I would buy them all together.
The new
'cause
Hitman
presumably
that just
they
came
would.
out. Yeah, the new Hitman that just came out is episodic. Same thing. I liked the last Hitman that came out, but I'm gonna wait till this one's out and I can just buy them all at once.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad idea. And that's, and, you know, even in my head talking about it, I'm like flip-flopping because coming back to like what a game's worth. And games are just different now, and I have to accept that. They're not a
It's not a
one-time
one and done.
package. And I think
Yeah.
I nostalgically enjoy that.
It's the transition
it's
into
the
the, new
transition
age.
that is
We're
frightening.
struggling.
Well, and
just
it's like,
different.
and there are people, new gamers coming in every day who they don't know.
No,
Like,
this is they're used to this. This is how
it's
games
just
are.
like, oh, okay, I buy this now and I
Games
get
are
all this
not
stuff
just-
later.
yeah, a disc,
I like
it's a whole-
and I like now that it seems in these last really in the last few months that it seems that there has been a bigger push to mix free and DLC. Maybe that came as a result
Right.
of The Witcher. I don't, and the massive outpouring of support they got for that.
Yeah.
But because, so like case point, The Division, like we talked about, they just announced today that they're releasing like like free DLC patch stuff that's going to like change it. It's going to give you a new area to go into.
Really? I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, I just read about it like an hour.
Virginia.
I read about it like
the news doesn't get to Virginia.
I read about it like an hour before we started recording.
Okay.
And so they're gonna do that, and it's like, oh, here's this, here's some stuff. It's gonna you can like trade weapons now, trade stuff among team members and stuff in the Dark Zone and other areas. So it's going to add some things, but add some new gameplay. Far Cry Primal, but then they are also going to release paid DLC later in the year.
Okay.
Destiny, they had patches and updates that fixed things before, but then they had their 2 big DLC expansion packs that were released. It's the Dark Below and the Taken King.
Let me ask you this.
But like Taken King was $40.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if I wanted to be fully up to date with Destiny.
Not really worth it, I would say.
I remember you guys
FYI.
talking about that.
Well, Destiny in general. We had a whole conversation about
we
Destiny.
Did. But
what episode was that?
Oh, that was like
games we love and hate.
Love to hate. Yeah, that was like episode 2.
Love and yeah.
But now they've just really talking about this huge April update that's going to be free.
Really?
And they're updating your light level, so how high you can progress. They're doing a lot of tweaks and things to the game, adding some new things in. And I'm kind of like, I haven't played Destiny in months, but I kind of want to play it again.
Don't do it, Jerrett.
No,
Jerrett,
don't do it. Don't get sucked in.
I'm going to do it and get sucked in. I can't help it.
What if you wanted to be fully up to date, 100% up to date with Destiny? How much money would you have to spend?
Now?
If you not right now, let's say you bought it, their initial game, and you wanted to continually stay up to date.
You would probably have been spent $60 for the game, $40 for Taken King. I want to say Dark Below was $20.
So $120.
So $120, and I think that's it.
That's it.
I think so.
Okay.
Well,
and that's
you can
I'm just getting back
just
to
just like in Halo, you can buy silver in the game, which is like money packs to buy emotes and stuff like that. Like that's totally on your choice to buy that stuff. But no, I think as far as like paid content that you have to buy to progress, and play the game fully, I think it's just like DLC with $120.
So the question, that comes back to my question: is Destiny a $120 game?
Yeah, that's a big no from me. It's a big old nope.
Again, it's up to the person. I paid that $120.
Yeah.
For the game.
Is it? What do you think?
Overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite, but I definitely...
I was about to say, that exact response right there would not warrant $120 for me.
That's a lot of money.
I enjoyed it, but...
But it's also, again, spread out, return on investment.
Yeah.
It's not like it's $120 all at once.
Right.
And the amount of time I put into the game is immense.
Right,
so,
right.
It's good. And so, yeah, and I'll probably get back into it with this update that they're going to see, just to see what it was. Just to see what it is and everything and what it entails. But then also Far Cry Primal just announced that they're releasing a free patch, whatever, DLC, a survival mode, which basically they're changing up this kind of thing with the game where you can play on like a super hard mode where you can turn on, you can turn off your mini map. They increase the fog of war on your map when you look at it. And everything. Some like rare beasts are harder to tame now than they were before, and you even have the option to turn on permadeath.
Oh, where you die forever.
But they also give like some.
I want that when the game comes out. Damn it!
And that's a valid
concern. Those are good features, but they're still basic to me in my eyes.
Yes, but the cool thing is,
I love the permadeath idea. Any game,
I do too. I love having the option.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
But it's kind of cool. I don't mind it necessarily with Primal. Because in everything I've played with Primal, I haven't come across any, and as far as I know, and everything I read with it, it had a excellent release. Like nothing really bad happened when it came out, which I feel like we've passed that era of when shit was just breaking every time a new game was released back in 2014.
I must have missed that year.
I mean, it was like
Nintendo's flawless.
It was like AAA
track record.
Yeah, it was fine.
I was playing Pokemon X and Y. It was it was a blurry year.
Nintendo's fine, but like other big AAA studios had a really tough time, and that kind of seeped over a little bit into last year. But now that seems to be behind us. People are like, "Hey, we can't do that anymore." But so for me, a little cool thing like that to just throw to your fans and be like, hey, here's this little fun nugget that you can now enjoy. I'm all about that fun nugget because they took the time to refine the game and get the game perfect in the time they had and delivered a flawless game on launch. I'm cool. And if you want to give me stuff after that, sweet.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting thing to put into perspective that it's a good thing if the game comes out working on launch.
That kind of
sucks that that's a good thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But it is.
But that's a different thing.
It is.
But so it's just nice. And so, overall, I understand the point behind DLC. I like DLC overall. Would you guys say overall you like or dislike?
Dislike.
Dislike? On the fence?
It's a case to case thing.
It really is.
It is.
It really
Sometimes
is.
it does work, but usually I don't buy it. I mean, usually I don't.
No, it's not a normal practice for me.
Yeah,
like I said, in recent time, Last of Us I bought DLC for, Destiny I bought DLC for, I'll buy DLC for The Division.
I mean, every time I go to think that I might do DLC, for example, with Smash Brothers, I haven't bought any of the new DLC characters because instead I've been spending my money on other games.
Right.
Instead of getting the DLC, I go and get a different game.
It has to be a game that I'm really into.
Yeah.
And so the thing is about it too, and the issue that might be, especially with games like The Division and Destiny that are more like, if you don't play it, everyone else is gonna really get ahead of you and get and all that
the threat
stuff.
of falling behind.
It's like that is a real thing. And so it's like, it could be argued that your experience playing either of those games will not be as good if you don't buy it.
Right, I don't like
Whereas
that.
most
I don't like that's the reason I hate it.
Yeah. Whereas other games like Call of Duty and stuff, no, it doesn't matter at all if I buy the map pack. That's not gonna. I can still log on and play the maps that are available and have just as good.
Yeah. See, maps though I like. Maps are the only thing that and I'm thinking about Halo specifically. If Halo or Bungie or 343 they release 4 maps that I'm like, those look like really good maps. That's something that's more interesting for me.
I mean, the closest game that I can think of with regards to DLC is actually Splatoon.
Yeah.
And 2 of the things that they do that I've really liked are all of the updates so far, all of the new maps, all of the new gear has all been free.
That's nice.
So the only benefit that I got from withholding my dollars until a few months after the game was released is, a lot of those updates had already happened. And then the other thing that I actually would consider DLC are Amiibo. So I don't think Xbox or Sony have like an Amiibo equivalent.
They're getting there.
But most Amiibo, they're not just collectibles. They do something.
Right.
They have a function in the game. They either download new content, they provide new maps or new levels, and then in addition to that, you have this little thing
which I think that's cool.
A lot of people they're starting collections. Yep. And there's this running joke that like we can't wait until 80 years from now when all of our grandmas have curio cabinets full of Amiibo instead of like those
precious moments.
Yeah, instead of precious moments. It's all going to be, and they'll be like, Grandma, you're so lame. That's what it's going to be. And so it's like, yeah, I would definitely, when you're getting something physical out of the deal, that also creates content in game.
That's a nice little plus.
That's much more able for me to be like, yes, that is worth the $10 for this little squid amiibo, which is the cutest
something you
one.
can hold. It's physical.
So what about then, very quickly, games like Disney Infinity or Lego Dimensions, where or Skylanders.
Oh, I was about to say, what was Skylanders? I couldn't think of the
where
word at first.
Skylanders is very similar to Amiibo.
Yeah,
You're basically just buying Amiibo.
You buy action figures to get the
right,
and
that's how Infinity and the Lego Dimensions are as well. You can buy like a Star Wars Lego set and build it, and the same thing. You plug it in, and it gives you new content.
Plug the Legos into the games.
That's how it looks.
Oh my god, technology!
I know it looks cool, but so to me, I'm like, Star Wars Infinity. Want to buy that because it's Star Wars,
of course.
But then also at the same time, I'm also like, I don't feel like I'm in the right age range for those games.
You start to question your life.
But still, it's just like, what do we think of that model? Like, is that like, because again,
it's the fact that you get a little,
you have to buy extra pieces to get more out of the game.
Now, if it's compulsory, I'm much less no. But if it's optional, like
it's optional.
Optional thing.
It's kind of along the same line. You can, you don't have to. But again, you do get the physical part of the amiibo, the figure, or the set. Because you can't. For the Lego one, I think is cool too because you can build the set.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's
pretty cool.
That's a creative way to do
it.
And I feel like, especially if it's younger kids playing the game, that's something that the kid and the parent can do together.
Exactly.
And then they get to play the game. So it's like, it builds families, keeps families together, right?
Yeah, it's sweet.
The family that games together stays together.
Exactly.
There you go.
I'm gonna hang that. I'm gonna hang that instead of a eat, pray, love, or live, laugh, love. sign
Wherever
in my
that crap
kitchen.
is.
It's gonna say the family that
I
games
have-
together stays
I
together.
have vivid memories of my Uncle Jim beating me into the ground. Like when I was
With video
little.
games,
Yeah,
right?
like
Video
with
games,
video
okay.
games when I was like 10. And he was
Oh,
an
Lord.
adult who played games and he'd be like, ha ha ha, and then just beat the crap out of me. I'd be
Wasn't
like, "Uncle
polite
Jim,
in letting you
why?"
win at all.
No, he was not like that. And it was just like, well, it probably built character, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Except
gonna
now
let
I
people
cry all the time about video games, so maybe it didn't.
a
Maybe
love-hate
it did the
relationship.
opposite.
Yeah, no, you don't go easy on people.
win. No,
build-
no,
just be
not
like-
in games.
You know,
Life
Settle
is
it and
tough.
smash.
exactly. Settle and smash. Go into the dark zone, get your ass beat.
Yeah,
That happens
what's
to me.
up?
You know, it's just like it just
See
happens.
us.
It's a part of gaming. So get used to getting your ass whooped.
Yeah, Terminator Z.
Exactly. Terminator Z.
Dogtown Warrior. Mogan, we got. We'll
Whatever
just,
hurts.
we'll,
I
we'll
know,
just
I got
create
it. And
something.
we'll just make something
We'll
up
make
for me.
something
Yeah,
up.
we'll say something else. So.
We'll figure it out.
So this has been fun. A nice little dive into business. Talk
Yeah,
about business.
I know.
Not even business,
icky.
industry.
Industry
Yeah.
business.
Which I feel is much more icky.
I know, right?
Menacing.
It's just like this
They're
big
listening
thing, and
to
we're
us.
talking about it. And you know, we're saying good stuff, so they should pay attention to us over here. But no. So overall, so no DLC, no to DLC.
Ultimately, no.
On the fence about
Still on the
DLC.
fence.
Even though it could be great, I don't know. I'm iffy, but ultimately,
Just
just the
commit
elbow.
to no.
It's the elbow.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the elbow I don't like. Stop
And me-
touching me. Get
me
your
overall-
hands off.
Get out of my pockets.
Yes.
That wallet is mine and mine alone to decide what I want to do with it.
Yes.
For me, it's game by game basis.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's
I
fair.
think it's cool. I think it's fun when they are able to give you the actual treats and stuff like that to keep you, especially if it's a game you love, to keep you into it. But but again, at the same time, if it's annualized games, no, I'm probably not going to buy this stuff. If it's a special case like Battlefront, yeah, I'm going to buy the DLC. And
You're a fan.
Outside of that, yeah,
Support.
I'm a fan. Fan of the game. I'm going to support the game. Fan of the developer. I'm going to support the developer.
You like EA. That's what
Actually,
you just
right.
said.
It's a controversial
No,
statement.
no.
We got another
Honestly-
hour, don't we?
That's
Honestly,
a
right now-
different conversation.
Honestly, right now, I'm probably of any of the developers out there. Like I'm probably more like on the Ubisoft bandwagon right now.
Yeah.
They're producing some good stuff right now. Good stuff, and so I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this stuff where else that's going to go. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. But so that Twitter post that
You
tweet.
were so
The twat.
close.
It
You
doesn't
were
matter.
So
The
close
two-
this
that
time.
the Twitter and Facebook
know.
tweet and the Facebook post that I sent out earlier got some action. People asked us a question. I was like, "Hey, we're
Already.
recording. Ask
What'd
us a
they
question."
ask us?
During right now.
See,
Oh
that's
my
the power of
gosh.
social
That's
media.
amazing.
I know.
Maybe we
So
should
got,
keep the new setup.
Oh, here we go. Got three. Twitter's dead. Twitter didn't give us anything, but Facebook did.
Okay.
Our fancy new Facebook page.
That's awesome.
Brandon asks, and we'll try to keep these relatively quick. But
Here we go.
hour 2, everyone.
Yeah,
Strap yourselves
can
in.
can of worms. It's about to open up.
Brandon asks, what video game exceeded your expectations?
Splatoon blew my expectations out of the water. I had no idea what to expect, and it's freaking awesome. I love
Nice.
it. To death.
I got to think about that.
Okay.
Exceeded my expectations.
You know,
Honest-
that could be a whole nother topic.
I know
That really
could
could.
be a topic.
Should we save it?
I don't
We
know.
could
Yeah.
name-
Oh, I've
I
already
think we
given
could
my
s-
mine
That's
away.
okay, you can
That's
think of a
true.
couple
'Cause
more.
Yeah, you can have some more because I would have to go into my past a little bit to think about that.
Delve deeper.
Exceeded
I
my
like it.
expectations.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
do
good
too.
question.
Brandon's
Ooh.
full of good questions and ideas.
Brandon, taking note of that one. Okay, so we're going to put a pin in Brandon.
Let's
Gonna
put a pin
put
in
a
that
pin
one.
in it.
Putting a pin in that one.
Put it on the cork board.
Spencer asks, did Zach brush his teeth?
That's a weird
That's
question.
a weird question.
Who's Spencer?
I don't know. I guess it's for about a years.
I don't know any Spencers. Do I?
That's cheat code. That son of a bee. That's cheat code. That's my friend from Xbox. Did Zach brush his teeth? I don't know why he would say that.
You can reply to that later and answer
yeah,
that question.
that's a conversation between me and him.
Yeah,
It's a gentleman's quarrel.
Yeah. Did Zach?
Kyle asks, what is our favorite group of people to game with in a co-op or versus setting? Do we like doing it in the campaign? Do we like doing it online? Or do we like playing somebody offline, so like sitting next to the person in a room?
Oh, well, if it's, I mean, for online, gosh, I don't, because like the only time where I would be sitting next to someone and playing a game against them is really just fighters.
Right.
Fighter games, 2-on-2, you versus your mom, most likely, and she's beating your ass. Then that's like, yeah, okay. But if it's actual like
Or
an
your Uncle Jim.
online game where you could just be all over the world,
Yeah.
then definitely just I mean, that's kind of a hard question.
That is, it's a hard and a little bit confusing question, but I like actually playing with people online. I like having the TV to myself.
I do too.
Does that sound
don't
selfish?
Like
I don't like split screen.
Now
like,
going back and playing,
like
trying to play split screen, that's super hard. Obviously, when I was younger and that was the only thing available, I
you
loved
big
it.
wussies.
I love Smash Bros.
I still love Smash
Yeah.
Brothers.
And playing
Smash Brothers is like one of the
Smash
only
Bros.
games that like I will get into that.
Although
still.
games like Smash, those aren't split screen anymore. It's just
Exactly.
a free for all.
True. That's probably a big reason why I do like it.
That's true. You still get the whole screen experience.
Yeah.
For me, I typically do not like playing co-op on the campaign with someone.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
Because normally, voice crack. Because normally, it's put a marker to edit that out. But normally for me, with the co-op, I always feel like I get stuck with someone
It's like higher or lower.
who's higher, not necessarily ever lower, but normally like there's no teamwork really, especially if it's
they
someone
just run through and you follow
and
them.
you just follow.
Right, I know that feeling.
And I've run into it a little bit with Division, not
Yeah.
as much as I thought I would,
They
which has
actually
made a
do
good selling
job.
point for Division.
Right,
for me.
they do. I think a good job.
I don't have a problem with like signing on and being just like, hey, let's play this mission together.
Right.
But as far as just like a standard game like Halo, I remember trying to play co-op with Halo with someone like split screen or whatever. I'm just like I'm not on with this.
Well, yeah. See, I have such nostalgia with that. Playing co-op Halo was such a wonderful thing for me. It was so much fun.
Well, see, but like
love
like when I would do that, the friend I would play with, like he wouldn't like there. I remember my cousin was like really good, and so I didn't have it, so I wasn't as good. And it's not like he was like being a dick about it and just like and being really. It's just like he would play and I would play, and that's just how he and he would be better and kill more people and get better. It's just like whatever.
You'd be the healer.
Exactly.
The bard.
I'd be the guy. Exactly.
Playing the drum or the flute behind him.
Yeah, the flag carrier who just gets shot immediately. Yeah, exactly.
Guitar.
And so
I'm okay with that role.
so for me, and then so it's especially this kind of thing where I don't want it. I want to, especially if it's the campaign. I want to enjoy the campaign for what the campaign's supposed to be. I don't want it ruined because I'm pissed off about somebody else taking my thunder.
I will say, whenever the new Halos would come out, I would never play co-op until I did the campaign single player.
Okay.
So I will say that,
Okay.
and that
Okay,
is,
that's good.
that goes with what you're saying.
But now on that same note, so Far Cry 4 has the option to do multiplayer campaign. And I haven't done it yet, but I need to do it so I can get like the last 2 trophies that I need before I can platinum it.
The trophy man.
Exactly.
That's right.
So that's
all
my
about getting
only
the
reason.
trophies.
But I beat the campaign, so I'm cool doing that now. Same thing. I'm fine. I beat it all and all that stuff. But like even in the Division, people will join me. I don't go join another party.
Right.
Because I don't want to join the mission.
You see, Mogan? You see how that works?
What an elitist. I don't join other people. They join me.
They can just join me,
You
damn
can.
it. No, but the reason being, if it's a new mission I haven't played yet, I don't want to get started right in the middle of the
I
mission.
understand. No, I think it's
I wanna
valid.
play the whole mission.
I'm similar.
So
Well, you need a mic.
I do.
And then you can.
She just let me
I
borrow
did.
her
Oh,
headset.
really?
Yeah, my
Yeah,
super nice
excellent.
headphones.
Because then you can talk and say, "Hey,
know.
wait up."
I know. Maybe we can jump on.
Voice cracking.
Maybe we can.
Please
Wait.
There's some guys over here.
You can hear
Jerrett.
my voice.
Gotta
My voice just
continue
gets
on.
distant in the background. Wait, there's some good loot back here. I'm trying to find this crate.
Shut up, Jerrett, and join us.
Join us in the firefight. Join us, men and women.
Coming. I got a scarf.
I
found this scarf.
Anyone who doesn't play Division, scarves are very
You
hard
can
to
get
find.
scarves. Mogan, you should design our characters.
I know. I need the
Just spend
fashion.
hours.
Just be
Yeah.
our
I need,
just be our
oh,
designer.
yeah, no, if you guys have lots of like items that you haven't allocated yet, I will
could
put
totally
you
do
together.
that. There's
a very good looking
a guy that I play
person.
with
All
for Xbox Live who is a Cheat Code's brother, Bluefire. He wears something I don't see anybody else wearing, but it's
really?
basically
See,
a suit
that's
and
like-
tie. I
that's
have not
the
seen
hell
that in
yeah.
Division. I was
That's
like,
the
dude,
point
you
of
look
the game.
good. He has glasses and a nice haircut.
Oh,
Good
wow.
for him.
And then he has like an AK-47.
Where's
like,
Bluefire?
slugger.
Get
Oh,
cheat
yeah.
code to get Bluefire
Yes.
on the
Cheat. Where are you? We'll get Cheat as a guest host one day.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So yeah, I'd say overall, I mean, obviously in like online multiplayer games, like I'm all for it. But yeah, campaign is where I usually ever have a hesitation about it. So, but those were excellent questions.
That's cool that it happened on the fly like that.
Yeah, that was fun. We should do more of that more often.
We should.
That should be the podcast.
Just people
it.
sending us questions. I mean,
We
maybe
won't even talk until we get a first question.
Yeah, that's a good.
just in
Hour
silence.
of white
It would be
noise.
very organic.
Hey, who's got a question?
You're live. It's like, what is it, Fraser? I'm listening. But anyway,
That's highbrow stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
we're
I know.
not. We're not.
Little. That's a little. Elitist.
Nobody here has a doctorate.
I
No.
don't join anybody. They can join me. I like that.
Yeah, I know. Join it. Join or die. Is that the old colonial thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You're the bard. You should know.
I should. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. I don't know. But anyway, thanks you for your questions, Brandon and Kyle. And so also though, speaking back on the Facebook and the Twitters, let us know what you thought about this topic today. What do you think about DLC? Do you buy every single bit of DLC that comes out? Are you selective or are you just against it completely?
Yes.
But
Fight the good fight.
Send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter. Send us a tweet there, teamchatpodcast, or like us on our brand new shiny Facebook page, facebook.com/teamchatpodcast. Swing, swing. It's nice and pretty. But yeah, until next time.
Perfect.
Until next time, everyone, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined on my right by Rachel Mogan
Adios.
and
Whoa.
Yeah.
foreign languages.
I love
Yeah.
to throw you guys through a loop.
We should do a whole episode in Spanish.
Yeah,
You
if
guys can
we
do
could
that,
speak
right?
Spanish.
Let's not.
Oh, you guys can't do that?
We'll offend a lot of people.
But yes.
And finally, Zachary Parks.
Peace out.
See y'all next time.